Artie, when I walked out of the movie theater after seeing Marty Supreme, masterpiece of a movie, master class of a performance by Timmy, I was just like, wow, that film was great. But funny enough, at the same time, there was a group of younger guys that were walking out, and they were just like, man, he was a little troubled, I guess, but he was just doing whatever he had to do to accomplish his dreams. He had to do his thing. And they were like 100% being serious. And in that moment, it like suddenly clicked for me that this was not just happening in my small town theater, but this was happening to probably most of the younger guys that were watching this film. And it was just like in that moment where I was like, okay, this Marty Supreme is the perfect next candidate to fit into the whole you miss the point type of archetype for these type of films. And if you've seen Wolf of Wall Street, if you've seen Scarface, if you've seen, what's another one, American Psycho, you know what I mean. It's these male protagonists where they are not admired or they're not, charismatic for these younger crowds because they are good, but because they are powerful. And here's my thing. Objectively, a lot of these male protagonists are cool, right? Like it's hard not to as a guy, like it's hard not to be like, damn, like he's a badass, you know what I mean? Or like, damn, he's just that guy. When you strip away everything, right? And you get to you ignore all the points of the film and whatever, and you get to what their archetype and how they have money, fame, sex, all those things that quote unquote make a quote unquote successful male today. It's hard not to be drawn to that, but I think that's where the point lies. And I feel like younger guys are so much more susceptible to missing the point to these type of films. And I think Marty Supreme is the perfect next candidate for, younger people, younger guys in particular, to be oh my God, he's such a badass. He was just trying to do whatever he could to be the best at his craft, at ping pong. And he had to hustle and bustle. And, he was banging baddies along the way. And it's but that's the whole point of how every time he took a step forward, it cost other people. And every time that he had one of those quote unquote cool things or doing what he had to do for himself, he was putting his personal relationships at risk and actively damaging them, his relationship with his best friend, it goes on and on and on. And so I think it's one of those things where if you're younger and you're watching this, or you have a brother or a nephew or whatever, and they're kind of in this tunnel of oh my God, Scarface is the best and whatever, American Psycho, just go easy on them, because I think it's one of those things where it's it's hard. Nowadays there's so much noise into what goes into being a successful man. But my thing is it's important to kind of reinforce it, hey, all these stories, Wolf of Wall Street, it's a story about greed. You know what I mean? American Psycho is a story about mental illness and someone that's just on an ego trip and he's a literal serial killer. But you know what I mean? And it's interesting, you'll read about how the director of American Psycho came out and they were so confused why. And even Christian Bale was just this is not a character to put on a pedestal. This is not Batman Christian Bale. This is literally a psychopath, a serial killer Christian Bale. So I think the main point that I wanted to say is I think a lot of people, if you were a younger guy and you walked out of this film and you're oh my God, Marty Supreme, he's that guy, you unfortunately missed the point of the film. And that's okay. I think sometimes it takes just maturity to realize hey, okay, we walk out of that film not seeing this guy as he's a legitimate badass for being good at the sport, but it's more oh man, he is a deeply, deeply troubled individual. And I think the cherry on top is the very end scene where it's okay, he's crying, he's brought to tears, by his baby. You know what I mean? The baby, his life. And I think that puts everything into perspective. Like, that's what really brought him down to his knees. Like, he's had pinnacles where it's like been peaks of emotion, but I think that moment was like so human for him. You know what I mean? And that's arguably the most important part of that movie, where you see that side of him. And it's almost like a coming to realization moment for him. And so, I don't know, just in the theme of like emotional intelligence and growing, like, I just wanted to make this video out because I realized that a lot of people are going to miss the point of this video, or not this video, or they're going to miss the point of Marty Supreme and put him in the same category as those other films. But don't be one of those people. Do not be one of those people. It's so easy. The male protagonists that you might be admiring them for the wrong reason. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning into this video. Even if it's for one person that watches this, I do not care. Hopefully you got something out of this video, and stay safe out there, stay blessed, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.